For 2 years, my life had revolved around caring for Clara after the accident left her paralyzed. Everyone who knew us, all our friends and family, just assumed that the very first thing she would do, once she could stand on her own 2 feet, was walk down the aisle toward me. So, on the night her surgery was declared a success, a milestone we had dreamed of for so long, I sat by her hospital bed and asked the question that felt like the culmination of everything. "Do you still want to marry me?" She hesitated. In the space of that silence, a chasm opened between us. It was a simple question, but the answer she couldn't give me was the only one I had been hoping for. A humorless chuckle escaped my lips. "I get it," I said, though my heart felt like a stone. I slowly, deliberately worked the ring she had given me off my finger. Without looking back, I walked out of that hospital room and away from the life I had called home for 2 years. When Clara heard my question, she froze, her gaze dropping to her legs, which were hidden beneath the thin hospital blanket. She stayed like that for a long time, not saying a word. Through the door, which was slightly ajar, the cheerful sounds of her family and friends celebrating in the hallway drifted in. "The doctor said the surgery was a complete success. She should be back to her old self in less than 2 weeks, one of her friends exclaimed. "I can't believe it," her sister said, her voice thick with emotion. 2 years ago, she had nearly given up. It's all thanks to Leo's unwavering support. They're definitely getting married now. I better start looking for a wedding gift." The voices were full of joy and relief, but inside the room, an awkward and heavy tension settled in the air. Clara remained silent. Finally, to break the stillness, I stood up and began to massage her knees and calves, a ritual that had become the foundation of our daily life. My hands moved with a familiar, practiced rhythm. "Is this pressure okay?" I asked, my voice low. The simple question seemed to snap the spell. Her tense body gradually relaxed under my touch. "Does it hurt anywhere?" I asked softly, just as I had every day for the past 2 years. She shook her head, her voice sincere when she finally spoke. "No. You do it better than any of the professional caregivers." I looked down at my hands, kneading the muscles in her legs, and got lost in thought. I hadn't known the first thing about massage therapy when this all began. In the early days, Clara couldn't stand to be touched by strangers. Whenever a new caregiver was hired, she would lose her temper, her frustration and grief erupting into a rage that chased them away. But the massage was a medical necessity to prevent her muscles from completely atrophying. So I found a professional therapist and spent 3 months learning from him, practicing for hours on my own legs until the movements became second nature. The first time I tried to massage her, I waited until she was asleep. She was a light sleeper, though, and woke up almost immediately. "Get out!" she snapped, her voice raw. I didn't leave. I just continued to follow the therapist's instructions, trying to be as gentle as possible. She started throwing things. A pillow first, then a book, then anything else within her reach. The last thing she threw was a framed photograph of herself from college, holding a tennis trophy, her face beaming with life and energy. The corner of the frame struck my forehead, and a trickle of warm blood ran down my temple. Seeing the blood, she stopped. She tried to move toward me, struggling against her own useless legs, a desperate sound caught in her throat. Then she broke down completely, sobbing uncontrollably. "Just go! Leave me alone! It's useless! I can't feel anything! Massaging me won't help!" She was giving up on herself, but I didn't go. Every single day, rain or shine, I showed up at her apartment to massage her legs. Things reached a crisis point when her mother found her after she had taken a handful of sleeping pills and had to rush her to the hospital. Her mom was beside herself, completely lost. I knelt before her, took her hands, and said, "Look at me. Everything is going to be fine. Trust me." I don't know where I found the confidence to say it, but in that moment she needed to believe it. And so did I. From that day on, I moved into Clara's apartment. Her mother cried and thanked me endlessly. She hesitated one day, clearly wanting to ask something she felt was too much. I saved her the trouble. "As long as Clara doesn't push me away, I'll stay." The truth was, even when she did push me away, I stayed. After one particularly difficult session where she felt no improvement, she screamed at me, "Get out, all of you!" By then she was in a wheelchair, and she would wheel around her room, knocking things over, making a mess. At least she had stopped throwing things directly at me. After her outburst subsided, I would quietly go back into her room, sit beside her, and whisper, "Clara, trust me." I said that phrase every day for 2 years. Gradually, miraculously, she started to regain some sensation in her legs. She could manage small, simple motions. Yesterday, the surgery finally took place. Her doctor was amazed, calling it a huge success, and saying she had a real chance of walking again. Clara's mother tried to hand me a bank card, her eyes blurry with tears. I just stared at it. I hadn't done any of this for money. Her friends all started calling me their brother-in-law, but I knew the truth. We weren't engaged. We hadn't even confessed our love in any traditional sense or defined our relationship. But I held on to one thing, a promise she made to me during her first round of treatment, back when the doctors were hinting there wasn't much hope. "Leo," she had said, "the moment my legs are better, let's get married." I was wheeling her home from the hospital that day. The moment we got inside her apartment, she had a complete meltdown. For someone who was once so admired and athletic, this fall from grace was more than she could bear. I held her tightly as she screamed and cried, and at one point she bit down hard on my shoulder. It was a deep, savage bite, born of pure despair, and the scar is still there today. When she pulled away and saw the blood on my shirt, she panicked, apologizing over and over again. After she calmed down, I began my usual massage routine on her calves. That's when she looked at me and asked, "Leo, do you have a crush on me?" I didn't deny it. "Yes," I said simply. She looked at me for a long time, her eyes searching my face. Then she said it, "Marry me when I get better." But my actions were never part of a transaction. I just wanted her to feel the same way I did. I prayed every day that she would genuinely fall in love with me. Back in the present, in the quiet hospital room, I finished the massage. I always rubbed medicated oil into my palms first, warming it up before touching her skin. I knew she was watching me. After a long silence, her voice came from above my head. "Leo, you don't have to do these things anymore." My hands paused for a fraction of a second, but I continued until I was done. I couldn't give up. Not yet. I had to ask one more time. "Clara, do you want to marry me?" Again she hesitated, staying silent. I could only laugh at my own foolishness. The ring on my finger, the one she had personally put there, suddenly felt like a brand. How could I not have been a hopeless dreamer? I'd had a crush on her for so long. I went into the adjoining bathroom to wash the oil off my hands and stared at my reflection. The ring on my finger felt like it was cutting off my circulation. It hurt my heart. From the other room I heard her say, "Leo, you're like a brother to me." Tears welled in my eyes, falling silently into the running water of the sink. I quickly wiped them away. "Don't say that," I thought. "It's too cruel." When I stepped out of the bathroom, the living room area connected to her private suite was still buzzing with her friends and family. I kept my head down but met Clara's gaze. I struggled to take off the ring. It didn't fit properly. It was a size too small. I didn't know if she had been careless when she bought it or if it was never meant for me in the first place. I had forced it on, and it had hurt my finger then, but I had convinced myself that all new rings felt like that. Now, taking it off was a strange relief. I wished I had done it sooner. Clara's eyes darted away as I held it out to her. "Here, this is yours." I could see the red, indented mark on my finger so clearly. I added, "It's gotten a bit smaller." She opened her mouth as if to say something, but I just waved it off and began to wheel her out the door to join the celebration. The moment we emerged, friends crowded around us. "What are you two newlyweds whispering about that we can't hear?" one of them joked. "Don't worry, we're not going to tease you today. We'll save that for the wedding." Clara's friends were like her, polite and considerate. Knowing she had just had surgery, everyone had brought juice and light snacks. Someone asked her, "Clara, once you're all better, we have to hit the slopes at Mount Cresta again, just like old times." Clara agreed out of habit, a faint smile on her face. Her friend then turned to me. "Come on, our new brother-in-law, you should come too. Clara can book your ticket, you'll love it." Clara looked up at me, throwing the ball into my court. I'd already been rejected twice in the span of an hour. I couldn't keep losing face. "You guys go ahead," I said. But then Clara suddenly spoke up. "It's no big deal if you come. I basically think of you as a brother anyway." With that, everyone went silent. Her friend playfully tapped Clara's head. "Clara, what kind of joke is that?" Other friends jumped in, laughing to smooth over the awkward moment, saying her legs just healed, so her head was still a little off. "Don't take her seriously, brother-in-law." The mood was glossed over with playful banter, but Clara remained quiet through it all. I thought back to a time when a friend of mine had noticed the ring on my finger. He had asked me, "Leo, are you sure? They're from a different world than us. If she gets better, would she really marry you?" Back then, I couldn't answer him, and even now I realized I still couldn't. But tonight, Clara had given me the answer. No. The party continued harmoniously. Soft music played while everyone chatted about old times. I pulled out my phone and searched for Mount Cresta. It was a well-known local ski resort. I couldn't understand most of what they were all talking about, their shared histories and inside jokes. It finally hit me why my friend had pointed out that we were from different worlds. I got up, and I immediately felt Clara's gaze on me. I went back to the small room that I had called my bedroom for 2 years, though everything in it had been picked out by Clara's mom. Rubbing my bare finger, I dialed the number of the woman who had thanked me with tears in her eyes 2 years ago. "Auntie," I said. "About that bank card." Before I could finish, she eagerly replied, "It has 6 zeros on it. 1,000,000. Take it, Leo. Thank you for taking care of Clara these past 2 years." I mumbled a heavy, "Aha." There was no need to pack. I tossed the few changes of clothes I kept there into the trash can and left the room holding only that bank card. Passing through the living room, one of Clara's friends asked, "Where are you going this late, bro-in-law?" I didn't want to put Clara in an awkward position, so I grinned. "I'm hungry. Stepping out for a bite." They insisted on ordering takeout for me, but I refused. "Takeout for you guys would cost $100. Not worth it." Clara's eyes were fixed on me, as if she was finally realizing what was happening. I waved to everyone. "See you guys later." At 1 a.m, with a bank card in my hand, I left the place I had stayed in for 2 years. I guess it wasn't a total loss. I found myself a hotel for the night. There was no need to constantly watch over Clara anymore, or fear her next mental breakdown. My whole body relaxed all at once, and the feeling was so unfamiliar I couldn't get used to it. I couldn't sleep, so I just stood on the balcony with a cup of water, gazing at the sparse city stars. In the silence, I could finally hear my own voice again. I thought I would be sad or hurt, but I wasn't. I just traced the red mark left by the ring on my finger, wondering when it might fade. That night was just a bit chilly, and the stars seemed a bit bright. Clara called the next morning at dawn. When I picked up, there was only silence on her end. Eventually, I asked, "What is it?" Then she hesitantly said, "Leo, I was thinking of having some custard buns this morning." After she became paralyzed, she had refused to eat. I had tried all sorts of foods, but she wouldn't even open her mouth. In the end, with tears streaming down my face, I begged her, "Please, just one bite. You need to eat." Maybe she just got fed up with my crying, but she finally took a bite of a custard bun I'd bought, frowning the whole time. She didn't like the ones from outside, so I learned how to make them myself from scratch. But I remembered every bit of her silence yesterday. Calmly, I told her, "Clara, I've left." She was silent for a while on the other end of the line, and I couldn't think of anything else to say either, so I just hung up. There was an astonishing amount of money on that bank card. I went to an ATM and counted the zeros on the balance over and over, stunned each time. Once I had safely stored the card, it dawned on me what my friend had really meant. "You're from different worlds." It was true. My parents were just regular working-class people. They knew I was taking care of a paralyzed girlfriend and had even come to visit once. Clara's mom had welcomed them with a grand, lavish dinner at a 5-star hotel, leaving my parents at a complete loss for words. After they went home, they told me it seemed like a tough situation, but they didn't stop me. "Go ahead, give it a shot," my dad had said. "Worst case, you can always come back home." It's only now, 2 years later, that I understood what Clara's mom was trying to convey with that dinner. Those fancy dishes surprised even Clara, let alone my 2 ordinary parents from a small town. Her warmth was a performance, a way to make it clear to my parents that we were from 2 different worlds that could never truly merge. Using the card, I bought myself a new apartment. It didn't even make a dent in the balance. I was busy with renovations and furnishing the place for a couple of weeks when I bumped into Clara at a local coffee shop. She was being pushed in her wheelchair by her friends, who were egging her on. "Clara, if you don't win Leo back, we've lost all respect for you," one of them said. "Apologize to your man. There's no one else like him." Clara hadn't been out in the sun for 2 years, and her skin was pale, almost transparent in the bright light of the cafe. Hearing her friend's playful insistence, she forced a smile. "If Leo shows up right here, right now, then maybe—" Ironically, I was sitting at the table directly behind them. Hearing her words, I instinctively tried to shrink into my seat, but the next second, one of my own friends came out of the coffee shop, calling my name excitedly. "Leo, they have your favorite cheesecake today!" The table behind me went completely quiet. I watched their heads turn as they realized it was me. As my friend brought the cake over, she noticed my suddenly changed expression. "What's wrong?" she asked, confused. I realized they were the ones making a fuss, and I questioned why I should let them affect my mood. I forced a smile and said, "It's nothing. Sit down. You still remember I love this cake, huh?" That one sentence opened up the conversation between us. But sitting so close, I couldn't avoid hearing the conversation at Clara's table. "It was meant to be, Clara. You should go apologize. You won't find another husband that good." "I'm telling you, if you don't clear this up with him, we can't be friends anymore." I recognized every one of their voices. They had all come to see Clara, one by one, when she was bedridden. One of the guys in that group had a huge crush on her. When he went in to visit her, she had deliberately spilled a glass of water on his pants. In the hot weather, his thin trousers quickly became transparent, showing his skin. The guy stood there, mortified, and I had to hand him a jacket to cover himself. Clara had looked at him coolly and said, "Do you still like me like this?" His eyes had reddened, and I had gently closed the door to give them privacy. When he came out, he held his head high and told me, "I won't like Clara anymore. She's not worth it." Then he left, only to return a moment later. He watched me cleaning the water off the floor and said awkwardly, "But you're a nice guy, thank you. You shouldn't like her either. She's not good enough for you." Then he quickly ran away. We later became friends. The people around Clara weren't bad people. I was lost in thought when Clara's voice pulled me back to the present. She was standing beside my table. "Leo," she said. I looked up instinctively. Her eyebrows furrowed when she saw me, and it seemed she couldn't voice what she had originally wanted to say. Her friends behind her were whispering, "Go on, Clara, apologize and get your man back." Clara frowned even more at their words. But I didn't need her apology. Relationships are a two-way street. Besides, hadn't I already taken the bank card? You can't have it both ways. Clara stood in front of me, looking a bit lost. I watched her struggle for a moment before I spoke. "I don't need you to apologize." She breathed a sigh of relief at that, but as she turned to leave, she looked back and asked, "When will you come back?" Maybe I hadn't been clear enough last time. I explained it more directly. "I'm not going back, Clara." She thought for a moment, and finally replied with a quiet, "Oh." She turned and walked back to her table, where her friends were watching eagerly. "So, did you get him back?" someone asked. "When are you two getting married?" "We're not," Clara replied flatly, a hint of impatience in her voice. The table went silent, and she repeated herself, her voice naturally rising. "Why would you think I'd marry him? Just because I'm grateful for what he did, I have to marry him? I told you I see him as a brother." For the third time. People should know where to draw the line. I simply stood up, walked over to her table, and told her friends, "You're mistaken about any wedding. I was just taking money to care for Clara." Clara looked up, staring heavily at me, and I met her gaze openly. I watched her brow furrow tightly as I added, "And don't treat me as a brother. A stranger is fine." During the time I cared for Clara, I'd often wonder if the accident had never happened. Would she have ever fallen for me? At first I thought yes, then no. The question went unanswered. But I knew the answer now. Clara started a new relationship quite openly, announcing it on social media and proudly introducing her new boyfriend to friends. It was hard not to notice. I bumped into them at a party hosted by a mutual friend. When Clara walked in with her boyfriend, a friend of mine squeezed my hand sympathetically. I reassured her with a smile and casually observed the new guy. He was nothing special. Clara noticed me and chose a corner to sit in near the door. She ordered a fruit plate and placed it in front of the guy, who beamed at her and whispered something in her ear. She just lazily watched the platter, not even bothering to look at him. It was clear to anyone watching that she wasn't really into it. I wasn't bothered, but my friend was. She drank too much and insisted on trying to introduce me to someone new. I was patiently trying to help her out of the party when Clara's boyfriend and I made eye contact. "I know you," he said. I paused. "Thank you for taking care of Clara." I nodded and prepared to leave, but he rushed to stand in front of me. "But if I had been with Clara back then, I could have done it too. The tantrums, the thrown cups, the sleepless nights. I could have handled it." I chuckled lightly. Talk is cheap. "Maybe," I said, "but you'll never know. If Clara's leg got bad again, you could give it a try." Clara, who had overheard, already looked upset. A friend stepped in to ease the tension. I joked to lighten the mood. "If that happens, maybe just hire a nurse this time." That remark still irked Clara. She slammed a glass down on the table and I glanced over. She said impatiently, "Why bring up the past? It's boring." But if it's in the past, why can't we talk about it? She didn't want it brought up because she considered that period of her life humiliating. The next day, my friend, now sober, couldn't stop ranting about the new boyfriend. "What does he mean, rubbing it in your face?" I just counted the zeros in my bank account balance and found, surprisingly, that I wasn't mad at all. That's when I realized how powerful money can be. My friends thought I was just putting on a brave face and insisted I needed to move on. They tried to set me up, but I still wanted to take things slow, to meet someone and gradually get to know them, building a relationship on mutual sincerity. That approach tended to scare people off in this age of quick relationships. I'd see news of them in new relationships within weeks. My friends teased me, saying I was a good luck charm for matchmaking. I'm really not in a rush. When I was with Clara, I was all in. Now I want to focus on myself first. I believe the person I welcome into my life in the future will be genuine, just like me. Clara broke up with that guy and, less than a week later, announced a new relationship. Friends finally started to accept that she and I were never going to happen. I picked up scuba diving and found a new joy in exploring underwater worlds. For 6 months, I traveled, but news about Clara somehow found its way to me. She broke up again and seemed to have taken a pause from dating. Her friends would jokingly message me, hinting that she was single now and urging me to come back. With the new year around the corner, I had to go home. I didn't expect a welcome party at the airport. Clara's friends were all there. "Leo, you got a tan," they teased. Unexpectedly, Clara was there too. She stood off to the side, looking a bit dazed. Eventually, she walked over. "Long time no see." 6 months ago, she had seemed so annoyed with me, yet now she was talking like an old friend. I politely replied, "Long time no see." She hesitated before speaking. "My leg," but she was interrupted by my ringtone. I sheepishly smiled and answered the call. A bright, young voice came through the phone. "Where are you?" Her energy was infectious. "I'll send you my location," I said. "Don't rush, take your time." After hanging up, my friends started planning dinner, but I asked, "Do you mind if I bring someone?" Just as they were asking who, a girl in a bright orange dress ran straight to my side. She held my hand and said adorably, "I missed you so much." I tried to take her suitcase, but she refused. I turned to the group. "This is Maya, my girlfriend." Sometimes fate is just odd. Just when you least expect it, something wonderful happens. When Maya first confessed her feelings, I suggested we take things slow. I thought she'd back out in 2 weeks like the others, but she didn't. Before I knew it, she was a constant, bright presence in my life, honest and passionate. "You've been keeping her under wraps," my friends teased. "Dinner's on you tonight." "It's on me, it's on me," I declared playfully. Maya echoed my gesture, mimicking my tone. "It's on me, it's on me." She adapted quickly, becoming friendly with everyone. The seating arrangement at the restaurant was perfect, even with Maya there. Then someone noticed Clara wasn't there. A quick call revealed she was feeling unwell and was at the hospital. Suddenly, the mood changed. "Is everything okay? What did the doctor say?" "No big deal," Clara said over the speakerphone. "The doctor just said to get some rest. You guys go ahead and eat. I'll treat next time." But her past incident was too grave. Seeing our friend's concerned looks, I offered a way out. "Go check on Clara. We can eat any time." Maya and I were tired from traveling anyway. Walking home with Maya, she commented on every little thing, from the flowers in a window box to a funny-looking dog. At our apartment building, I was surprised to see Clara standing by the entrance. Maya paused. Clara stepped forward, addressing me, but looking at Maya. "You must be Maya." Her tone was friendly, but it put me on edge. Clara smiled at her but said nothing more, then focused her gaze on me. "Leo," she said, repeating. "Long time no see." Maya, unfazed by being ignored, stayed quietly holding my hand. Clara seemed about to say more, but I stepped up and introduced Maya properly. "This is my girlfriend, Maya." Clara's faint smile faded. "Okay," she responded softly. Then she continued, "My leg's been acting up." Maya responded with genuine concern. If your leg's really bad, you should head to the hospital. Need me to call an ambulance for you? She took out her phone, adding seriously, After all, my boyfriend isn't a doctor. Clara ignored her completely and called out to me again. Leo? Maya, not willing to be ignored, looked directly at me. Why is she ignoring me? I had no clue. Leo, Clara called out again. Maya got in my face. Why? She insisted. I nudged her head away and said, I don't know. She leaned back in, persistent. I took out my keys to open the main door, and suddenly realized I had almost forgotten Clara was still there. Clara's composure almost slipped. When my gaze met hers, she finally said, Can we talk? Maya shook my hand. What do you need to say to him? I slowly said to Clara, I've got nothing to say to you. I closed the door after we were inside, and Maya immediately hugged me. I'm jealous, she said. I patted her head. What are you jealous about? I had told her everything about my past with Clara. There were no secrets. She jokingly whispered, I hate that you're such a blockhead. But that night, Clara called me. She had been hospitalized. She said, Leo, did you know your girlfriend had a 4-year-long first love? Her health situation was unclear, but apparently her ex-boyfriends were lining up to try and take care of her, most leaving within hours. My friend said she deserved it, warning me not to feel sorry for her. I wouldn't. Since taking that card, I had never planned to look back. Clara's mom messaged me late one night. Leo, can you meet Clara? Alone? I was with Maya. I declined. Sorry, my girlfriend wouldn't be comfortable with that dot. She called, begging, her voice desperate. It seemed Clara's relapse was serious. The doctor said her muscles had atrophied again from lack of use, putting her back at square one. I firmly told her sobbing mother, Sorry, I don't owe you anything. I have my life, and Clara has hers. But Clara called soon after. Leo, do you think you and your girlfriend will last? Want to bet? Bet on your girlfriend's loyalty. I wouldn't play such childish games. She didn't care, leaving me with a chilling. Just wait and see. All women are the same. In the following days, work was non-stop. Maya wanted to explore the city, but I couldn't make time. She was disappointed, but understood, and started exploring on her own. She was social and made friends easily, so I wasn't worried. But then she began leaving early and coming home late. The pile of cheerful notes she left on the counter grew, and a slow unease crept in. What was she up to? I recalled her concern when I had been away, and finally understood how she must have felt. Before I could find the right time to talk to her, Clara sent a picture from a new number. It was Maya, laughing with a guy at a cafe. My stomach clenched. See? Clara messaged. All women are the same. She sent more photos. Guess if she'll come home tonight. I blocked her number and sat at home, waiting. I hesitantly messaged Maya. Her quick reply came, Having dinner with friends. I didn't ask when she'd be home. She said around 10. At 11 she still hadn't returned. Not even a message. Clara called from another new number. So, aren't women just like I said? Even if Maya betrayed me, so what? We'd break up. I'd move on. I would never lose the courage to try again just because I got hurt. The guy who once liked Clara had told me she wasn't good enough for me. At the time, I doubted him. But looking back at her self-destruction and her current attempts to drag me down with her, I realized he was right. She really wasn't good enough for me. I waited until 1 in the morning. Why was I waiting? Why was I believing Clara instead of trusting the woman I was with? I put on my coat and opened the door. Downstairs, I bumped right into Maya, getting out of a car with the guy from the photo. Seeing me, she looked flustered. Leo, I'm so sorry I'm late. I walked to the car and knocked on the window. The driver, a handsome guy, rolled it down. What's wrong? Are you Maya's first love? I asked him directly. He seemed nervous. You're Maya's boyfriend, right? Don't get me wrong, we just ran into each other for work. Yes or no? I interrupted. Maya came over, frantically explaining about traffic. But a 3-hour traffic jam? Yes or no? I asked him again. It turned out the answer was yes. In our entire relationship, Maya had never mentioned him. Some people might not mind, but I do. Right there, I broke up with her. The guy got out, trying to explain. We just ran into each other. Clara was nearby too, so we all had dinner together. We didn't do anything, you can check the cameras. The more he said, the less I cared. Finally, Maya told him to shut up and leave. Then she blocked my way home. We need to talk. I looked at her. No, we don't. When we started dating, I said the only rule was honesty. I had told her everything. She hid this. I'm not oblivious, I just chose to trust her. Let's end it. The relationship began fast and ended fast. When friends invited me to hang out with Maya, I casually said we'd broken up. They were surprised and immediately wanted to introduce me to someone new. I still refused. I'm holding out for someone sincere, and if I don't find that, I'd rather be alone. Clara's mom still called sometimes. I didn't agree to visit, but I sent her my recipes for custard buns and the prescriptions for the massage oils. I booked a flight to go traveling again. This time, I didn't miss it. Sitting in my seat, I was startled to find Maya sitting beside me. She smiled. Didn't miss it this time, huh? She didn't seem to understand why I was truly upset. She just kept wanting to reconcile. I was wrong, let's make up. Forgive me, she repeated. Back when I was with Clara, I would analyze every word, every punctuation mark. But Maya wouldn't properly explain her dishonesty, and I couldn't understand why meeting her first love, a meeting orchestrated by my manipulative ex, was necessary. We won't get back together, I said, my voice final. It's over. After we landed, I booked a cab. When I looked back, she was gone. A genuine, passionate girl with an uncertain heart. But that's okay. At least I experienced her passion. I'll eagerly and hopefully welcome my next relationship whenever it comes.